Well, hello, and welcome back. Welcome. It's been a long time. I was sick over the weekend, and I don't know, I had some stuff to do before that and some stuff after that, so it's been a while. But hello and welcome. I'm AJ O'Neill. This is Beyond Code Live, and we're going to go over how to first. What I'm going to go over is how to set up GPG signing for your Git commits. And so this basically just gives you a little verified sticker on GitHub. And then I'm going to continue on from that to setting up an installer or two for Webi and maybe some other open source PRs or whatever. Anyway, time to get serious. Got to take these off, you know. And before I get started, my who to follow for today, I'm going to pick two. One is JavaScript Jabber. In fact, I'm probably going to pick JavaScript Jabber every Tuesday because Tuesdays is when we record JavaScript Jabber. And that's, we have some pretty good episodes with some pretty good people. And the links for that are down in the doobly-doo. And also Dan Shapir. He's one of the co-hosts on JavaScript Jabber, and he's just a really smart guy and really thoughtful, really metered. I like him a lot. All right. So with that out of the way, last thing before we jump in is a word from our sponsor, but not really our sponsor, Mountain Dew. It is time to, you guessed it, open focus. All right. So who do we have on right now? Is this somebody new or somebody, an old friend? Would love to know. Yeah, and okay, good. I've got that all set up. There's too many things here. I'm actually going to switch windows real quick. We're going to go over to this window. There we are. And I don't know what, something's chugging away at my GPU. I got to check that out. It seems I'm dropping some frames here. Let me know if that's problematic over there on your end. So the first thing is that we have to get, well, first thing. It's always hard to tell what's the first thing. I'm going to run through a couple of notes that I have, and I'm going to try to show you as quickly as possible how to get the GPG signing set up. Here we go. Okay, I'm just going to copy this bit over onto this screen in a second here. Or, yeah, I'll just bring it right on over. I'll bring it over this way. Here we are. So I've aggregated a bunch of different blogs. I should have put this one. I should put this one in the. Here we go. We're gonna just put this in there. This is one of the blogs that I found to be particularly useful, but I don't like lengthy, wordy blogs. I like things that are terse and straight to the point. That's just me because I am familiar with a lot of these technologies and terminologies, and I just give me the 5 commands that I need to run. Don't give me the whole history of explaining everything. Now, I like to do those histories sometimes, but I try to put a TLDR up at the top. Anyway, what we have here is first you need to get GPG. And if you're on Mac, you probably don't have GPG. Now, I do happen to have GPG, and we'll go over that later. But GPG is a tool for doing encryption and signing. It stands for GNU, pretty good privacy, or because it's PGP and then GPG. Yeah. Anyway, so I don't actually have any keys yet. So the bit that we're going to go over here is perfect. So what we need to do, first you install GPG. I'll go over that towards the end because there's multiple ways you can do that. And the way that I'm going to do it is I'm actually going to create an installer for it because I don't like the installers that exist. But the main bit of magic, and this is going to be posted on my blog, and I will link to it. It's going to be this create GPG key.sh is what I'm going to call this. And let's go ahead and make this a little more readable. I'm going to expand this out, and I'm going to explain to you what's going on here, so that you know. And I'm going to make this as readable as possible. So I'm going to shift a couple of things around here. And I might, let's see, I think if I'm not mistaken, you can always go to the next line when you have a pipe and a shell script. So I think I'll do that, and I'll explain exactly what this is doing. This scary bit right here, you don't need to do this. This is completely optional. All you really need to do is just put your name and your email in a variable here, and then, or you don't even have to put it in a variable. You could just replace it in this thing. But once GPG is installed, you run GPG agent / daemon, and that runs a GPG daemon in the background, which again, we'll talk more about that at the end or later on, not right now. But this command right here, this is the magic sauce, is because I don't like to give you commands where then you have to go type in a bunch of stuff and have interactive prompts. This is how to get rid of all of the interactive prompts. So to get all of the interactive prompts, and I'm also getting rid of the passphrase, because it'll ask you for a passphrase as an interactive prompt. Otherwise, you have to save it somewhere or have it potentially be in your history, and then, what's the point of that? But also because in modern times, when we generate keys, if you're on a Mac, you've got File Vault turned on, hopefully, and so your disk is fully encrypted, and it's a single user system. And so the only way that anybody can actually get to that information is pretty much just if they're you, or if they steal your laptop. And at that point, you're probably pretty hosed anyway if it's not locked and they're able to get into it and get to all the files and all that. But you run it in batch mode, you pass generate key, you switch pin entry to be loopback, which is basically dev null, more or less, so that it, instead of having a GUI prompt or having a terminal prompt for your, I don't know why it calls it pin, but it's for the passphrase management. It doesn't do anything, or it doesn't ask you. And then you set the passphrase to be explicitly empty string, so there's no passphrase. And then the way that you pass options for this is kind of weird, but this is the way it is. You give it kind of a file that has a little bit of its own GPG script in it, as well as some options. I guess these percents are GPG commands, and echo is one of them, and commit is one of them. That's all that's used here. And the rest of it is standard-ish syntax, key value pairs left and right. So you say, I want an RSA key. There's my name. Here's the comment on the key. Here's my email. Here's the expiration date. And voila. So you run that, and that will give you a key. Now, these bits up here, what this does is you probably already have your name and your email in your Git config. So if I just comment this out, and I don't know if the name comment, I don't know if that's public or not. I mean, I don't know if that gets published to key servers or not, because GPG is a long running standard. I mean, we're talking about basically the underpinnings for what now is becoming in blockchain and Web 3.0 and all this nonsense. It's just convoluted ways of doing stuff that we've known how to do since the 90s, except that it wasn't sexy in the 90s. It wasn't sexy until it started getting monetized. That makes sense. But anyway, the GPG keyring is a blockchain, more or less, but it's one that's designed to be efficient and easy to replicate rather than being designed to be inefficient. And you can make subclones of it for just the people that you trust. But it's essentially a global contact database, and you can put keys in it. Anyway, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to run this, and it's going to run these commands, and I'm just going to, I commented out this bit right here. Whoops, let me do a couple of other things. Any script, I always like to have set-e, set-u, so we're running bash in strict mode. And this, since I don't have any keys, we just tested here. I've got no keys listed. And maybe, I don't know if I want my comments to be no passphrase. Whatever. I'm going to leave it at that. Sure. So I'm going to create that. Boom. And now it's generated a key for me. So now if I run this same command again, now I have my key. So we're halfway done already. And what I'm going to need is this little bit right here. But again, I always like to make things scriptable. So, and I should have talked about this a little bit more. hold on, let me go back in here. Let me just, so we're saying read the contents here to get my name and my email. We're saying read the contents of my .git config and then find the line that has name and only pick the first one in case there's several lines that have name equals on it. And then divide or split it on the equals and get the thing that's to the right of the equals and get rid of any extra spaces. And same thing basically for emails. Get the line that says email and do pretty much the same thing. That's what it was. Okay, so I'm going to go back here, and this, I actually don't want to do send keys, but I'm going to get my key ID. I'm going to comment that one out because I don't actually want to publish this key to a key server. I don't know that there's any benefit in doing that. I really just want it for GitHub. So the thing that we're going to need to do, that we're going to need to upload to GitHub is just this GPG armor export, and then we'll give it the key ID. And so I'm going to make a script for this in a blog post, and we're probably actually going to do that as part of this session. Whoops, there we go. So I'm going to paste that in there, boom. So this is what I need to go take to GitHub. So I'm going to go on GitHub. I'm going to start over in the other window, and then I'm going to bring it onto the main screen in just a second because I'm going to go into my profile. I'll show you where this is once I get there. I just don't want to show, well, I don't know what I don't want to show, but there's probably some things that I don't want to show. So we're going to do that first. I'm going to go over to not profile, but to settings. And then I'm going to go down to SSH and GPG. Okay, cool. So let me show this to you. All right, so what I did was I went here, I went to settings, and then I scroll down, I go to SSH and GPG keys, and I scroll down and I add new GPG key. And the idea with SSH keys and GPG keys, any type of key, the basic rule is one per device, per user. So typically devices, meaning your laptop, your phone, etc. Really, there's only one person that uses it these days. And there's a few rare situations where you might have shared work computers. I don't, because you're part-time and you share with somebody else that's there on odd days as a student or something. But generally speaking, you know, each device, is one user, right? So to simplify it down, you just want one key per user per device, which usually means one key per device. And you don't copy keys from one computer to another computer. That's not a good practice. And the reason for that is that you want to be able to revoke these. So say you lose your laptop or your phone or whatever it is where this key is. You want to be able to come in here and revoke it. Now, unfortunately, these don't allow a comment, which is kind of strange. Oh, they do. Well, they do allow a comment in the sense that we saw that there was a comment in the key, but I don't know. There's not something that I don't remember there being something that we get to specify. Was there something here that I didn't catch? That's interesting to me because with SSH, you're allowed to name the key, but here, because ideally, I would want to be able to have one per computer and have them to be easy to distinguish. I didn't get that. Oh well. So here we are. Now I have keys on my account. So what I'm going to do is we're going to create a new repo. And we're going to call this one GPG test. And just a test. Delete me. And let's just go ahead and add all the normal things in there. Actually, I won't add all the normal things. Okay, so now if we look at this commit, I'll be interested to see if it shows it as being verified. Yeah, so this is kind of strange. It shows it as being verified because it was committed by GitHub, which is weird because it's not committed by me. Or maybe if we put it in Vigilant mode. Let me... I don't know how to... I don't want to deal with that right now. All right, so I'm going to go here, and I am going to go back. Oops. Let's get out of bash. I'm just going to go to my temp directory. I'm going to clone this GPG test. And we're going to touch foo. I'm going to get add foo. And then I'm going to get commit foo by AJ, ostensibly. Oh, wait. I can't do the commit yet because there's a couple other pieces we need to do. Okay. So assuming that you've got GPG installed, which we're going to make that assumption, we still need to do the bit where we set up the git config to have a signing key, and we use the key ID. So this little bit that I created here, again, I didn't explain this, sorry, but I will go ahead and do that now. I'm going to actually copy all of this. We're going to put it into a script, and I'll explain all of it. But we just need to set up the global git config so that it knows what key to sign commits with, and then to sign it automatically. So, where was I even at before? Okay, sign git commits.sh. Let's call this Autosign. All right. So first of all, same thing here as before, where I will split this up a little bit so that it don't look so nasty. And I apologize for that. I wish my formatter would automatically do this, because I only just recently learned that when you hit enter after a pipe, it's a continuation. It's completely allowable. There's a lot of things that after 20 years I only just learned yesterday, you know? What else we got? Okay. So similar to what we did before, I'm just trying to get that first line that had sec in it, which is what the key ID started with sec. I don't know why sec is the identifier of that line. Probably short for security or something. Anyway, and then there was a slash. So if we take this, and I'll list it out in just a second, but there was a slash there, and then there was also a space. And so I just grabbed the bit after the slash and the bit before the space. So field 2, splitting on the slash, field 1 and field 2, I grabbed field 2. Splitting on the space, field 1 and field 2, I grabbed field 1. So let me just show this real quick. So I grab this line, I split on the slash, and I grab all of this, and then I split on spaces, and I only grab that. So that's what I did. So that's how I get the key ID. And then we're going to set, this is my signing key, is this ID. Do I want to commit GPG sign my commits? I set that to true. Now you shouldn't need to do this. And if you do, and you're doing a setup differently than what I'm doing, which you definitely are if you set it up before this video, because part of what we're going to do is take the installer for GPG that I created for macOS and put it on Webi, webinstall.dev. That way everybody else can get it the way that I did it, which is the way that ought to be done, because reasons. Well, I'm not going to go that far. The way that I did it does have some quirks to it. I took the official installer, but rather than installing it in the system location, because as you know, I am hard against, no application should require sudo unless they are serious hardcore system applications. Should not require administrator privileges to install an application. Application should go into .local opt or .local bin. That's where application, or the applications folder for Mac applications. But this is the Linux standard. This is where things should go. They shouldn't go in system locations because we don't live in a world with multi-user systems. And even if we did, all that does is create security vulnerabilities, both for updates and because cross-contamination between users and binaries and stuff. Anyway, that aside, the location of my GPG program is here. Okay, so that all said, I shouldn't need to do that, but it won't hurt. But I'm going to go ahead and set that up. So we're going to do Autosign get commits. So now that's set, I should be able to do get commit foo. And then I don't know how we view this. I don't know how we view signatures. I'm going to check this out real quick. I'm going to look up get log show signature. Because it seems that it should show that the commit's signed. It should have some sort of designation. But I don't know anything about it. Signing your work. There ought to be a way to just make that part of the default config. Okay, get log options. Okay, get config log. There's probably some sort of option that I can set for when I do a get log show the signature, because I would like to see that designation. What's up, AZ? How you doing? Let's see. Get config. Okay. Log.show signature. There we are. That's it right there. So this should go into... Oh, that's cool. All right. Get config global log.show signature true. Let's go ahead and set that. And then let's do get log. Interesting. Oh, interesting indeed. Can't check signature, no public key. All right. So now we know what this is. What the heck does ultimate mean? Not really clear on what ultimate means. I'm not really... I'm not a GPG nut by any means. I've used it a few times over the years. I went to a key signing party once. That's all I got. Well, given this, I would want to put... What would I want to put in here? I'd probably want to put the machine in there. I think that's what I'd actually want. Anyway, let's go ahead and push this. So now... where was I looking at this? Okay. We're looking at this right here. So now if I refresh this and we go look at the commit history, we see that it's verified. Now I wonder, one thing that you can do on your branches with your protection rules, you can require signed commits. So you can require that anything that's brought in is signed. And you can also require linear. I don't know why they call it this. I guess it makes sense. Require linear history means that you don't allow people to use git merge. It means that they have to use modern git rebase rather than antiquated git merge. Require a pull request before merging. That makes sense. Allow forced pushes. Probably don't want to allow. I misunderstood that earlier. I'm going to go change the rules somewhere else. Anyway, what was the other thing that I wanted to take a look at? I wanted to Vigilant mode. I was just kind of curious what moderation setting means. Limit to existing users. Limit to prior contributors. Limit to repository collaborators. I don't know what this means. You can restrict repositories in your actions across code review limits. Interesting. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to go back to settings, and I'm going to go back to SSH and GPG keys, and let's see if that option, Vigilant mode, flag unsigned commits is unverified. Interesting. Yeah, thanks. Now I got there. There's a little bit of a lag between when these pop up and, well, there's the 15-second or so lag between when I in real time speak and when you hear me, and then also between the time that it pops up here, which is when real time hits your time, and then when I see it. But thank you for that. Okay, can I go back to commits? And then if that's interesting. Why does it call that verified? It's kind of interesting because it's not verified. Because I didn't do it. It's really interesting. I guess in this case, GitHub itself is a Git client. It acts as a software as a service Git client, and that Git client has PGP keys. No, that's not the case. That's not the case here either. I don't know. Because if you make a commit from the web interface, I mean, ostensibly that's just as good as any, but it's not the same. And it's kind of interesting. I wouldn't have noticed this except that somebody else had complained about it. And I was just kind of listening into the conversation. And I do agree that, I don't know which way to feel about this. Is this a verified commit or is it not? It was created by GitHub. It wasn't created by me, but it says it was verified as if it's by me, but that's not true. Now, ostensibly, we trust GitHub as a whole, as the developer community, to not fake commits on our behalf. I guess if we can trust its green verified button, we might as well trust GitHub. Some of these issues of trust and security are a matter of boiling things down to what not just the technical truth, but the actual perceivable truth is. If we trust GitHub enough to host our code there, and we trust it enough to show us a button or not, then we must trust it enough to allow commits on our behalf and count them as verified commits for who we are because we're signed in by that virtue. So I guess I can get on board with that. Anyway, okay, I've gone through this whole process now. I feel good about it. There's a couple things that I want to fix in my blog post, one of which is really just this there we go, how I'm doing that. Email. So the reason, let's see, I like things to be scriptable. So in terms of instructions, it's not necessarily incredibly useful instruction to show all of this for getting the ID, but I like things that are copy and pastable, and that is copy and pastable. I don't have to edit anything. If it is true that I have a .get config, then this is copy and pastable. And then I don't know what I want my name comment to be. In the format that it's given, I kind of want it to be, I guess I want it to be the machine name is what I want it to be. My host equals, I'm trying to remember what the best way to get that, probably host, right? Host name. I think that's fair. Work computer. And then let's say here my host equals and this one instead I'm going to put host name. I think that's fair enough. That makes sense for a key. And then as to whether or not I put a passphrase on that, I guess, so here's the other problem with this. If you back up your computer, your backup could have an unprotected passphrase on it. The reason, maybe I should just look into this real quick. Okay, so the side step that I'm going to take, because I think maybe what I'm doing here is a little bit wrong, is can I add the GPG passphrase to my OSX keychain? GPG passphrase OSX or macOS keychain. Because if I can do that where I could just set it to something random and then have it stored in the system keychain and then never even have to know what the passphrase is when I log in, it's unlocked, then I'd be good with that. Yeah, I don't like things that require brew. And this is old. This is from 2016. I've read other stuff that says, if I understood correctly, the env file bit is no longer necessary. But let's see. Let's see what options are in GPG agent. Options, pin entry program. Okay, So let's do kill all GPG agent, and let's do GPG agent daemon penetry program, and then I think, oh, left me. I can give it opt GNUPG bin, and then penetry mac. Ugh. I don't know how far this has to go. Like that, maybe? Maybe that'll work. Let me go back here. Where did I have to run GPG agent start? I think that was actually in a different piece. Here, right? Okay. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Let's say it's like that. So what if I take away these bits here and I try this again? So I'm going to try this. Oops. Without the pen entry loopback. I guess these should be single quotes too, so that they don't get interpolated. And this could be my host. See what happens. Because what I don't want to end up with is where every time I do a git commit, it asks me for a passphrase. That would be one of the worst possible things, because nobody's going to want to do that. There's no way to get an organization to subscribe to that sort of behavior. Things have got to be convenient. If you ruin convenience in the name of quote-unquote security, then you're just creating security risks. Because people work around things that are annoying. So if you can make it really, really simple and really, really easy to do the right thing, then you don't have to worry about that. But if you make it really, really hard to do the right thing, then you do got to worry about that. Okay. So let's try this out and see what happens. So first of all, do we have GPG running? Yes, we do have GPG running. Great. So if I run this create GPG key secure, it's going to ask me for a passphrase. Okay, so I'm just going to call this delete me now. All right. I wonder what show typing does. That seems like a bad translation. Yeah. Show typing shows what you typed. Okay. So let's hit OK. Warning, you've entered an insecure passphrase. Ooh, take this one anyway. Okay. Now let's say I want to do that GPG list thing again. GPG list keys. So the one that I had before was a different one, but this is the one I have now. So what I want to do is I want to do git config global, and then what was it, GPG dot sign or commit dot sign, I don't know. What was it? User dot sign key. Git config global user dot sign key. Signing key. That's the other thing that stinks. So I don't remember how to do unset. Maybe it's unset. Seemed to work. Yeah, there we go. So the git config will allow you to set anything. It doesn't check. Hey, DLarn, what's going on? Yeah, I'll do a quick recap. So I want to start signing commits with GPG keys. And there's a link that I shared. I'm basically just going through this, but my own way. I'll share this again. Signing commits with GPG keys. Basically going through this, but I'm just doing a little bit my own way. And then I'm going to take the way that I've installed GPG and I'm going to put it up on Webi. Maybe I'll end this session and start a new session for that. I'm not sure. But I'm at the point where I should be able to test this. All right, save in keychain. That I think is what I want. I think I do want to save that in keychain, which should mean that every time I sign into my computer, it'll load these things from the keychain. Oh, whoops. Let me bring this back over here. So this is just delete me now. Okay. Save in keychain. So I should be able to do kill all GPG agent and then start up the GPG agent again and then make another file that I touch and then commit again. And then I should be able to cool. All right. So I think that worked then, is that I killed the GPG agent. It would be nice to try this over entirely where we actually restart the computer. Let's see. And log out, log back in, because then I would know for certain that this worked. But I'm pretty sure that it did because I killed the agent. I told it to save it in keychain, and I'm pretty sure well, let's just go ahead and open up keychain. Let's see about that. keychain. I'm going to open that up on my other screen here. Whoop. And I'm going to look for GPG. I don't see anything there. Do we have anything in my login? GPG? No. Do we have... Oh, what was this called? What was the name? Not the name. Okay, let's see. This was the key identifier right here. So let me see if I can find that in all items. Okay, here we are. So indeed, my GNUPG, I was searching for GPG. I should have been searching GNUPG, but now I found it. So my GNUPG key is here. And again, I don't know what this ultimate means that it has here, but I think, I don't know how to interpret this exactly, but this key up top is what I've selected for signing. But I think it actually signs. I think there's two keys and one can rotate. I think that's what it means. So I think the bottom one is it's the sub key and you can rotate it. And the top one is the primary key. Or maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe it's flip-flop. Maybe this is primary and this is secondary. Maybe I could just Google what this is. SCEA versus SEA and SSB. But anyway, point being that the file is encrypted with my passphrase, and I think this is good. This is good. I can live with this. Then I don't have to type it in. I only had to type it in the twice. I had to type it, well, three times. Because the first time it didn't ask me if I wanted to save it in the keychain. Only when I went to use it did it ask me if I wanted to save it in the keychain. So I had to type it in twice. Once to create it and once to save it in the keychain. That's acceptable. I can live with that. So what was this? SSB? Is that what it is? SSB. Let's see what we get back here. Signature plugins. We'll take a look. Oh wow, this looks a little bit complex. Huh. See, I don't really know what you use GPG for other than signing mail, which nobody does. This is a problem. The email problem could have been solved so long ago. So long ago. I am somewhat amazed that when Gmail came out, what was it, in 2004, that they didn't implement signing in Gmail. Because basically, I guess people were still thinking about it too cryptically. They weren't thinking about how do I make this really easy for anybody. They were thinking about, oh, it's really technical, gotta make sure it's secure, da 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 da. When we do gotta make things that are secure, but if they're not easy to use, nobody will use them. And so GPG is a technology that fell and failed. because people are too interested in the technical details of it. Much like blockchain stuff today. Nobody can explain it. Nobody knows what it does. Although I think it's a lot easier to explain GPG than it is to explain blockchain. One, because it actually exists. It's a thing. It's real. It's not just made up a word that you use to describe something that either you haven't built yet or doesn't do anything yet. That's, anyway. That's not what I want. I really just want to know the difference between SSB and SEC. Huh, nice. What? Is this even related? I guess it is. No. What does SSB and SEC stand for? Okay. That's hilarious. Oh, that's crazy. AZ, off topic, but I'm curious what your thoughts are about Rust and Golang. I love them both. When do I recommend using one or the other? So if you can use Golang, use Golang. If you can't use Golang, use Rust. That's basically when to use one over the other. So Rust is going to be when you're in CPU constrained environments. Typically Rust is great for instances where you cannot scale. If you can scale, Golang's probably a better choice. If you can't scale, or the cost of scaling is too high either in complexity or in cost, then Rust is a better choice. So for example, if you're going to write a game today, you'd want to write a game in Rust. You wouldn't want to write a game in Golang because you cannot scale the memory on a person's computer. It is just whatever it is. You cannot scale the CPU on a person's computer. It is whatever it is. So when you need to eke out every last little bit of performance, which is not usually the case, then use Rust. But for all other cases, use Go, because Go is faster to write, it's easier to read, it has better performance in the general case. What I mean by that is Rust, you can fine-tune things to be performant, but if you write naive implementations, your implementation will be slower than if you use the naive, or I don't even want to call it naive, the obvious implementation in Go. So Go has obvious implementations. It has a great standard library. Go is also cross-platform, and that's a key selling point for Go. There's now, oh gosh, I forgot the name of it. I need to remember the name of it. It is a GUI library in Go, and this just blew my mind. It is cross architecture. It is cross device. It had some name that it was very aspirational sounding. The name sounded like almost like a fantasy, or something that's fluid. I'm trying to remember. Let's see. I think it started with an F sound. Let me see if I can find it real quick. But it had one of those names. It's not fluent, but it has a name that sounds something like that, something that sounds aspirational and easy or flowy or works together-y. I tweeted about it. Let me see if I can go back and find it in my tweets. I tweeted about it for... Uh, 2014? No. How about Go West Conf? But feel free to ask me more questions along that vein. Search advanced. Is this what I need? From these accounts. It was from, I'm pretty sure CoolAJ6 was the account I used. And I think it was Go West Conf. That's... see what else I've got. I will have to go figure out what the heck it was. I'm going to go look in the chat for it real quick. I've got the Discord open. Oh, cool. The videos are rolling out. That's sweet. Scroll back, scroll back, scroll back. Fine. It's called Fine. Cool. And Rust has something that is similar to, gosh. What's that thing that everybody uses right now that's 100 megabytes? I forget what it's called, but it's all the desktop apps. They're all built with this thing that's Node and V8. Why is it escaping me right now? Anyway, Rust has something that's like that, but it uses native web views, which native web views on Windows are Chrome, and native web views on Linux, I think, are either Chromium, or they're probably not Chromium. They're probably Firefox, or I don't know. And on Mac, it's obviously Safari, so you don't have to worry too much. You can use the native web views. You don't have to have, because back Electron, that's what it's called. Back when Electron started, browsers were really crappy. And so we needed to have Chromium embedded in something so that we could know whether or not it would work. Nowadays, unless you're using really fringe features, you don't have to worry about that. But fine, that's what this thing is called. And this, you can build Android apps, iOS apps, all in Golang. Yes, it was Electron. I wasn't looking at the screen, so I didn't see that. iOS, Android. It's basically Flutter for Go. I want to go back maybe to the main web page, and then I'm going to go back to working on what I'm working on. Okay, yeah. The main page here does a pretty good job of showcasing what Fine is. And he's building a number of, some of them are just toy apps. Some of them are really useful. I think the SSH term is the one that seems the most interesting. But yeah, having cross-platform tools, I think, is amazing. I actually want to check and see what this is about real quick. Catch my file. I'm always interested in how do we solve the how do you transfer a file to somebody problem. On the local network without any configuration? I'm going to make an issue about this. Let's see. Do we have? Oh, good. This is done with Go Releaser. Sweet. Or maybe it's not done with Go Releaser, but it looks like it is. Go releaser is another one of the great things about Go that Rust does not have that I wish Rust did have. Testing images not signed. Interesting. Okay, yeah, I want to. I'm gonna reference this. This is where I'm gonna go next. Is Webi. I don't know if I'll do the catch my file installer or not. New installer. Add catch my file. And I'm going to call this Golang airdrop. Although airdrop is, I don't want to go off on that tangent, but airdrop is actually really, really fascinating. Airdrop is not a naive network utility. Airdrop actually does peer-to-peer Wi-Fi direct connection. So even if you are using some of your Wi-Fi radios so there's multiple radios for Wi-Fi. And in the Apple hardware, when you use AirDrop, it will use some or all of the radios for a direct connection with the other computer. And the closer you are to the other computer, the stronger the signal is with lower power. So you can get faster transfer speeds over AirDrop than you can over Ethernet for certain scenarios, depending on what all the setup is. But it actually is blazing fast between two MacBooks with good radios in them. Okay, anyway, back to the task at hand. I've got all this figured out. I'm satisfied with how this works. There's one thing that I'm not quite clear on, and that is launch agents misbehave quite regularly. Let me see if I can go back to my little article here. Yeah, I need this for myself. A launch control, basically any system service, is really finicky. I don't know that I've ever come across a system service that I was wowed by. System service manager. Let me be more precise in my speech. Precision of language, Jonas. So, so if we use launch control is going to tell us that this file is okay, that it is correct. Let's quit out of here actually, because that has an older cached version. Okay, so it's going to tell us this is okay and that this is running fine. Oh. But if we actually, let me do kill all GPG agent, and I'm going to do launch control unload. And then let's see. I'm gonna close out of launch control again. Now this launch CTL is the Apple application. Launch control is some dude made this, and I use it to double check things. It says that there's no configuration problems, but then if I click load, you're about to load this job will be run, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now it says that it's running and that it's okay. Let's see if it actually did run. But it's not running, because now we can see that there's no process GPG agent running. So I get really confused by this, because it seems like it works, but then it doesn't work. Keep alive no matter what. So if we were to look at, the logs for this, it looks like it's running. It looks like it's been running for a long time. Oops. I just want to look at the date on this. So this looks like it started up 2 minutes ago. But it's not there. And this blows my mind. So if I now do this commit, it's going to complain. Failed to sign the data. Because the GPG agent isn't running. But why is the GPG agent not running? Because from everything that we can see, it did run. So let's see what it looks like if I look at the log. The log was not updated this time. I just don't know what to make of it. I get really confused. The log file's not been updated, so I don't know when or why the log file updates. Or when the file runs. But I think Monterey I'm not sure if Monterey changed it. Monterey, is that how we pronounce it? Changed something? Or what's going on? Because we also could say maybe this should be not daemon, but maybe it should be server. I just don't know. I just don't know what to think. If this should be server, that kind of makes sense. Let's try launch control, unload. So this is the GPG agent. This is required in order for it to interface with the macOS keychain. If I can't reliably load GPG agent, then I'm hosed a little bit. Because it's going to refuse to sign commits. But I don't know what to do. I don't know. I don't understand what this means. But I think this might be one of those things again where I have to just restart the computer. I should try these instructions on another computer. That's what I'm going to do. Give me a second. I have this shared. So by the way, Bliss, what I'm using here, Bliss, if you sign in, you can actually sync between computers and it's encrypted. You have to add your passphrase. You have to go to the settings and you have to grab your passphrase that's going to be generated. But you sign in, it'll sync encrypted drafts and use the passphrase you copy from one computer to the other to decrypt. Oh, I can't use that computer because that computer is doing something right now. Is there another computer that I could use? I don't know. Oh, Baba. Okay. Whoops. And it's just really frustrating when it says that it's running. But it's not running, obviously. Okay, I'm gonna try a couple more things here. Oh, this came up in the wrong place. I'm gonna have to buy a license for this eventually. Maybe if it actually works. Well, I guess it's not necessarily its fault, the problems I'm experiencing. No, I want to remove this log. Okay, so it was running and then it stopped. I'm going to try that. I'm going to search this one more time. GPG agent launch control. I searched this before. Starting GPG agent. Allow preset passphrase. This really doesn't seem to have anything to do with launch control. This unfortunately can't be reached. Launch. Is there a next message? So default will be to launch the agent on demand. I wonder if that means that I should create a config file that has those things in it, but it doesn't seem to be launching it on demand, because if it was launching it on demand, okay, let's see if it was launched on demand. Nope, it was not. So we tried to commit. It's not launched on demand. I call that false. Fake news. Okay, we'll be able to use that other computer in just a second. It is almost done doing what it is doing. Okay. GPG agent and launch D. Now move to a run it load background service rather than the previous keep alive. I don't know. Let me try this. What if I don't try keep alive? What if we do daemon and we don't do keep alive? Sorry, I'm jumping around a bit, but this is how my brain works. I'm just trying to figure this thing out. I wonder... okay, I'm going to close this out again. Is there a way to just refresh this thing? Is there a refresh? Launch control is trying to install a new helper tool. Okay, so it's back to daemon mode. We're back to unloading this. Unloaded. We're back to loading it. and it's back to OK. Did it actually start? No, it didn't. So frustrating. If I run it from the command line, it works just fine. So I don't get, you know, and I'm not getting any output. Look at all of this. What does that even mean? It means it started, right? So it definitely started because it's showing its startup bit. But I wish somebody would post their launchd config. Maybe what I need to do is just take some of the XML and put that in my search. So what would it be? Program arguments, run at load. Let's try that. Let me get rid of all these things. I'm just going to get rid of them all. You know, I've got another idea too. I will check out in just a second. Was it run at load GPG agent? That might yield better results because then I'll actually see config files. And I might go to Google for this one. I'm actually going to start with the official documentation over here. That didn't help. All right, in supervised mode from macOS launchd, there seems to be at least two problems in this approach. Launchd prohibits forking. In order to receive sockets from launchd, its launchd activate socket API must be used. Supervised mode does not break, but expects sockets to be configured from file descriptor 3 along with listen FD names and FD environment variables configured. The proper way to acquire sockets from launchd should be by using its API. Here's our patch for GPG agent, blah, 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 including a sample plist file. Great. Where's the plist file? Launchd activate sockets. Homedir. Log file. Maybe that option is actually there and I just totally missed it. Let's see. GPG agent help. Nope, I don't see launch anything matching. How about sockets? Oh. What is this? 2018. So that's pretty recent. Is there some extra options here that I'm not really familiar with? Okay, there's another thing I was going to check too, which is that I think in the downloads directory, yeah. I want to look for, nope. Interesting. I would have thought, oh, you know what? Maybe I should look for that in .local opt GNUPG. Nope. Because there was an installer. Oh, okay. The other computer's done doing what it's doing. Hold on. I'm just over at the other computer real quick. I guess I can bring it over here and then I can sit at the desk. I just had it running a job and it finished its job. And so now I'll be able to test over here maybe too. But there's just something I'm doing wrong and I don't know what it is. Sweet nectar of life. I'm going to put this in a precarious... we got the water right here. Oops. But then we've got the computer right here. There we go. Water over here. That's better. Do you know of any API service that would validate email addresses and phone numbers? So typically that's a pay-to-play type of thing. There are services that can do that. What do you mean? Do you mean run verification? Twilio will run verification for you. But do you mean validate it to know whether or not the user exists before you send an email? Do you mean validation or verification? Be more specific, and then I'll go further. Okay. All right, I gotta go ask my wife a question real quick. So if you want to know if it's not a bogus email or phone number, again, describe the level of bogus that we're talking about. Are we talking about knowing that a number that contains 555 is a fake number? Knowing that at bogusemail.com is a fake email address? Because for that sort of thing, you can look up MX records and you can know whether or not the domain has a mail server. Or you can look up the area code in a public area code database and know that the phone number can reach a valid subscriber. Subscriber is the last digits of a phone number. And this terminology should be cross-country because before the internet, which most countries had phones before they had the internet, but not all of them, phones switched on switches, and the subscriber line was the last digits that the operator, which either human or automated operator, switches to get the line to the home. Now that doesn't apply anymore in the cell phone world because now all the numbers are digital, but the same terminology applies. But anyway, you can validate that the prefixes will get you to a valid possible subscriber line. You don't know for certain that the subscriber line must exist. And there are APIs that you can subscribe to that will tell you, because numbers are published when they switch hands. So if a number recently changed from the Verizon block to the Comcast block or the Sprint block, then you have a really good indicator that that number is valid because it was recently switched. And so it means somebody has likely recently entered into a contract. And there are bots, there are robo-dialers that just dial and see if you pick up. And if you say hello, then it marks it as valid. Now, those databases are being gathered illegally and they're probably being sold illegally. But the fact that I get several calls a week where there's no one on the other end of the line, it simply checks to see if I answer and say anything and then hangs up, lets me know that it's just looking for a very low level voice recognition. The number could be dialed, the number reached a human. That's it. And they mark it in a database and that's sold. So there's varying levels that you can do here, but the true verification is that you send the email to a person and then they click the link in the email to say, yes, this is me. And likewise with a phone, you send them a text message or give them a call and they either press a button or click a link or whatever, or enter a code. So that sort of thing. Give me just 1 second. I have to go. Let me put up the BRB here. I'm just going to call this one getting the door. That's not what I'm doing, but I'm going to put that up real quick. Whoops. Well, let me put this up. What's going on? There we go. Be right back. Actually, I'm going to wait on that because it's going to be time to put the kids to bed pretty soon. So I'm just going to spend a little more time trying to figure out this problem the next few minutes, and then we'll close out this session, and I'll open up another session after I put the kids to bed, and it'll be doing pull requests on Webi, and one of them will be this GPG installer, if I can figure out what is going on here. Let's just try to run this with the supervisor D supervised launched activated sockets, invalid option. So what is the reply to this on the mailing list? It seems that next message by thread, socket activation, sort messages by thread. Let's see, gnupg.org. Somebody, I mean, this has been solved. It's being used somehow. I don't know. Okay, so launchd prohibits forking. That kind of helps. Does not break. Along with gosh. So dead end. Cannot find a reply to this. Seems that somebody should have. Okay. Simplifying the run at load. What's this? GPG connect agent /by. What does that do? Okay, so right now, what have I got? Do I have it running? Is it running? No, it's not. Okay. To run. That's not what I wanted. Okay. All right, where's this GPG agent at? Local opt GNUPG. Okay, share. Local opt GNUPG. Share, 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 share. Okay, so I think what I want to find I wonder if this is a script. Nope, it's binary. Okay. Okay, where's agent program? Homedir. GPG connect agent. I don't see agent program here. Missing argument option. Wait. Hold on. Invalid option. Okay, versus missing argument. Okay, so missing argument could be local opt GNUPG bin GPG agent. Okay, this looks promising. Now, do we have it running? Haha, it's running. Okay. But we need to pass it options as well. All right, we're getting there. We're getting really close. So I need to figure out how do I pass it additional options. E. Okay, quiet, homedir. Okay, I like being explicit over implicit, so let's go ahead and add this little bitty. GNUPG. Great. And that's the what it defaults to, right? So we're not doing anything special here. GNUPG. All right. Although it would be nicer if it used .config GNUPG, but I don't know that I want to do that. GPG.conf. Yes?
Let's go get ready for bed.
All right, give me a few minutes. Okay. And valid identical. Variables not found. Okay. I don't know what to make out of these. Okay, well, let's take a look at this. Where does it say the conf file? GPG.conf? There are a few configured files. They're explicitly expected to be in the home directory. Okay. Give me an example of what this file looks like. I'm hoping that it is essentially I don't know if that's what I want. pen entry is what I want to find out. I want gpg.conf. I want to be able to pen entry GPG agent configuration. GPG agent conf. Excellent. That's what I need. Pen entry program. Yes. Okay. We're going to be winners here after all. So I just need to echo home all of this stuff. There we go. This should be it. Okay, so I think this will work. We'll have to check it out in the next session because I need to go. I'm going to do a kill all GPG agent real quick, and I'm going to run this. Oh, whoops. Oh, crap. Hold on. There we go. Like that? Yes, like that. Okay. All right, and then it worked. Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to show this up in the next session and start on the GPG installer for webinstall.dev. All right, I'm out. For those of you that watched, thanks for watching. For those of you that didn't, raise your hand. And if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Otherwise, give it a thumbs down because every thumb helps. But if you like what you like, you get more of what you like. And check the doobly-doo. Click all the things. Subscribe. You know what to do. Adios. Don't spill the water.